Saradaga, me Shravanthi to.
Ethnicity, occupation, caste.
I thought dating was a waste of time. Even in college, someone asked me on a date and then I was like, yeah, the next available. Oh my
Next
God,
available?
Parents are mostly happy if I bring a Telugu guy home.
Yeah.
When I just moved to US, when in middle school, like kids were like kissing in the bathroom stalls. And stuff
In
like
middle
that.
school?
The whole caste system. Their 10-year relationship got ended because they're from different castes. When I moved to Dallas, interacted with more NRIs, that's when I realized how caste played a huge role.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of NRIs Got Blatant, where we discuss a bunch of amazing NRI topics and we do not hold back. Today, we have one of my very lovely friends and a crowd favorite, Shravanthi.
Hey, Manasa.
Hey, Shravanthi. It's so nice to have you.
Same here.
For those of you who don't know Shravanthi yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You should know her by this time. But for those of you who don't know her, Shravanthi is an actress, a radio show host, also works in tech. And if you haven't watched her Jack of All podcast yet, I'm going to put the link down in the description. Go check it out, where she opens up about her life, her journey, and all of it on the podcast. And if that isn't enough, Google her. There's so much about Shravanthi. I promise you will love everything that you find.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Or if that still doesn't feel enough, tune into Radio Sangam in Dallas to hear directly from Shravanthi. Tell me more about your radio show.
Yeah, so recently I do this show in Dallas called Saradaga, me Shravanthi to, which means just, having fun with Shravanthi and something that happened by accident. And now I get to chat more. And then speaking of which, I'm here to, explore topics which I'm sure like a lot of us wonder about. But I know you and Adi have a different take on it. So I'm excited and also a little bit nervous. So we'll see.
Well, I think you also have a different take on a lot of the topics that we're talking about. The show is called NRIs Got Blatant.
Yes.
Let's give our audience a little bit of information about how you classify as an NRI. Because I know you've had a little bit of a different journey, right?
Yeah.
You were born in India and
Yes.
you moved to the US early childhood.
Yes, when I was like 9 or 10. Yeah.
Yes. So, but that still makes you an NRI because I feel like you've spent a few of your core childhood years in India.
Yes.
And I know this is a topic of contention. Kind of a lot of people disagree. A lot of people think this comes under the American born like ABCD category, and some people think it's NRI. But for the purposes of our show and for us, you are an NRI. I think you're an NRI. Also because your soul, I feel like, really connects a lot more with India than it does of those people who were actually born here.
It's such an interesting feeling ever because I always feel I'm too Indian to be an American and too American to be an Indian. So the whole concept of am I an ABCD or am I an NRI, right? But but the purpose is I genuinely feel like a lot connected to being an Indian. So yeah.
I totally understand that. And if someone like me who moved to the US at a more mature age for my master's feels like I don't know where I belong anymore, which I know a lot of our audience members don't kind of understand, they don't get, they feel like we're talking about something that is not true. But honestly, I feel like there are a lot of people out there who feel like us.
Yeah.
I can connect a lot more with what you're saying in the sense that even at that young age, you had that much of a connection with India that you can't now understand where you fit in. And I think that's a bigger issue, right? In general, I feel everyone's looking for a place where they can fit in, something they can belong to.
Yeah.
And the struggle is there for everyone who moves here from India, whether they are. Also for people who are born here, the struggle still exists. It's lovely to have two places where you can belong, but the confusion
home.
is
Yes,
real.
yes, yeah. I guess it took me a while to realize you don't have to pick one or the other, right? I mean, there is that being Indian American or, that association because yes, over time your cultures do, overlap and then you get to choose for which you associate more with, but that doesn't take away the fact that you are an Indian or the fact that you're also an American, with all the education that gets, put in you, right, in terms of the value system. But also back home, again, I'm eating my pappu charu,
Yeah.
avakai annam, and then all that, which was what?
Yeah.
I am that.
Yeah, I think we carry both cultures and both values within us, and that's what kind of brings us to feel like I don't know where I fit in. But I think the beauty of that is being able to embrace both cultures and both value systems and taking the best out of everything.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans in general, when they look at Indians, they just see Indians. I don't think they understand yet the concept of NRI, right? They
Yeah.
can't differentiate that. You're just
Yes.
an Indian who's
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah.
But you as an ABCD / NRI, how do you see Indians in India versus Indians in the US?
I guess it's just the experiences, and I feel like I can relate to both, right? For example, in my high school and middle school, like my Indian friends, they understand that feeling of, oh, you might smell like curry, or like the hesitation to have braids to school or put bindi or celebrate your culture, because that's not what you see. At least that was the case 10-15 years ago. We came a long way, right, to now where everyone knows what biryani is, Diwali is, or turmeric latte is, right? And whereas mostly people who come here for grad school, right, so that's how they make a path in the United States. So for them, I understand certain things because of their upbringing, but post high school I can't relate certain things of how things were done in their college over there, and how they're kind of things that become the norm, which are still very new to me.
For example?
I guess the whole caste system, right? I didn't even know, like, even like my friend, even a couple of them, of course, they're like different ethnicities, and a couple of them are Indian, and one of them being Telugu. It was so funny because neither of us knew what caste we were until recently, when we were talking about something about marriages, and one friend of theirs, their 10-year relationship got ended because they're from different castes. And that whole idea for us is more the race, right? Oh, and at home is, I guess, she gonna bring a white guy home, or like, and things like that. But the idea of them being like, same neighborhood and 10-year relationships, but people not ending up with the same person, but the idea of caste. So like that's something, despite me speaking Telugu fluently, I still struggle to understand.
That's an interesting perspective, because I'm curious to know. I've heard from, in general conversation, a lot of people who experience casteism in workplaces here in the US. I'm guessing, as a kid who grew up here, as an ABCD or the circles that you may run in, is that something that you've never experienced in your workplace?
Not in workplace. It's a funny story, right? So again, this is all like very innocent realizations I had along the way. And there's one organization, like I think they asked me, hey, what's your name? And then I said, oh, Shravanthi. And they're like, no, you're like last name. I was like, oh, okay. Like, well, you're like full name. And then I said, okay, Shravanthi Pratipati. And then I didn't realize like why that was needed until like my parents later explained, oh, it's probably because of, it could be associating with the caste. So that incident was pretty interesting to me. And then recently I'm an MC as well.
And that was for a club?
No, it was in general. I don't think I have actively been denied opportunities, but I might have in the hindsight. Maybe they just never came to me about the caste, because I think I did have that advantage though. I realizing people see me as like, oh, this girl who was like born and brought up here, she's like that Telugu American, right? That's the flavor I bring more than the flavor of my caste. I don't even know, right? Like there was this one incident too where I think I mixed up my caste too once when someone was asking, and then my mom's like, do not speak like this in India. And I did not know what blunder it was.
Okay.
Like I still don't understand the seriousness of it until like when my parents, like when we were watching movies, and then they're like, some of the stuff you see, it's real. And when I came to move to Dallas and I've interacted with more NRIs, that's when I realized how caste played a huge role, whether it be like professionally for them and then also personally. I think that impacted more. Like they can't be with their love of their life because of the caste.
That's always heartbreaking, and I've heard many such stories as well. And I think that is an experience that in the US NRIs definitely go through. I didn't have the ABCD perspective.
I think the parents are mostly happy if I bring a Telugu guy home. Like, no, it's Indian guy home. Bonus points if he's Telugu, right? Caste is asking a bit too much. Hopefully he's a doctor, engineer, startup founder.
Occupation is higher than caste.
Of course. I mean, How are you going to like, you know?
So it goes ethnicity, occupation, caste. Okay.
I don't think it's even a criteria.
question,
If
yeah.
my parents, if I ask my parents to be honest, they're like, yeah, just make sure he's an Indian, like make sure, and then they treat me well. I think the perspectives have changed because they went through a different road by coming here. So maybe they look for different things for their kids as well. I'm not saying for everyone. This is purely disclaimer from my experience only.
But that's actually a good segue into the next question I have
Yeah.
for
Oh,
you,
what
which
is
is
it?
dating.
Dating.
So how was it for you? The reason I ask is first generation immigrants who come here who are still carrying a bit of their culture because they just moved here from India and they're still immersed in the culture that they grew up in. And then here they have a kid who's going to school being immersed in a different culture where dating is normal or all of this is casual.
Yeah.
How did that play into your experience growing up? How was that for you?
Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna embarrass myself here. I'm a very goody two shoot type of girl. Like I love I love my books. I thought dating was a waste of time.
Google didn't tell you that. Let us know in the comments below. We're gonna
I
have to
mean-
do some PR to let people know what Shravanthi stands for.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, I
Take
still
notes, guys.
remember
Books.
in even in college, someone asked me on a date, and then I was like, yeah, the next available. It's like an appointment. Oh my
Next
God. Like,
available? Did you say next?
I was telling you, because I was like, I used to be on campus at 6 a.m. and go home at like 11 p.m. And then I finished my like entire school with double major and a minor in 3 years and part of a club. And I was also doing job. I traveled to New York once a month. And so balancing all this, I just bringing a boy and drama in my life felt like least of my priorities.
So you had the right focus when you were studying. That's good. I like that.
which is why I guess I didn't really have much of a problem in terms of like at home in terms of that. And then I guess growing up when I just moved to US, when in middle school like kids were like kissing in the bathroom stalls and stuff
In
like
middle
that.
school?
In middle school, yeah.
Wait, in middle school?
Yes. I was in like 6th grade, and then I was like. Literally, I was that Telugu auntie, I think. I was that auntie.
In middle
I was
school.
like, I was go gossip to my mom. And my parents was like, did you know, like, like they kissed like outside. Like for me, it was like, or for prom. It was so casual then, right? Of course, I was not used to that. Because in India, like, imagine this girl, uniform, nails gotta be cut, braids, oil in your hair, ID card, and then study, go home to like, instantly you come and then it's middle school, you have to switch classes, and then they're like suddenly a couple kids are making out.
Wait, middle school is what in Indian?
6th grade. Sixth grade.
Guys,
They were like 10. I was 10.
my uniform was still frock in
I
6th
know
grade.
it.
We didn't even graduate to skirts, okay?
Yeah.
Frock.
And then kids flashing their new iPhone. They were getting their nails, hair done, highlights. Imagine, I was still having my oil, like parachute coconut oil. Please don't sue us. Am I allowed to say a brand name?
It's fine. Coconut parachute oil. If you're watching, you know where to reach out to us. Sponsor our episode.
Yes,
See,
and all
beautiful
the
hair
hair,
for
all the hair.
advertising, right?
But yeah, so that's how I felt. It took me a while to be like, oh, this is normal. Hey, let's be steady now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to talk to a boy.
What about non-Indian boys?
He's a good guy, no?
Wait, did you like him though?
Okay, this is it. I think we need to draw boundaries.
How did that work with family?
My parents say like I'm too picky. My dad gifted this Jonathan Livingston Seagull. A few days after reading that, I went to my parents. I was like, yeah, I think I want to just volunteer my time in like a retreat center. My mom is like, you're not gifting her such books. Protagonist in that film, in the end, she realizes she has to love herself first. And I think I took that way too seriously.
So very long-term focused.
I mean, yeah, I'm not in for the games.
How are your other Gen Z friends like?
Situationships, friends with benefits,
Tell me,
open
what
relationships.
are all these terms?
Benching.
What the heck is benching?
They say in a relation.
She has said dating is anything but stable.
Swipe left, swipe right. Instagram is a huge culprit. Your partner should be A to Z times 10. And if they're not meeting that, then
Dump
they're
and
not a
move
good
on.
partner.
Yeah.
Idea of I could find someone better is a lot in this generation. Married men are being on dating apps.
Really?
New dating app idea. Past exes can leave reviews.
Yes.
Brown guys use a lot of family as an excuse to come out of a relationship.
Have you been on any dating apps?
Apparently there's some fake profile made of me.
Oh wow.